Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. We continue our coverage on the war in Iran. On Capitol Hill, support for the war is split down party lines. Not surprising, although nationwide polling shows that most voters don't support the president's decision. Joining us now is Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, a political science professor at American University and also founder of Upstander International. Dr. Dibinga, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Thanks for having me.
We're always glad to have you. Many ask the question, is this America's war, or are we fighting the war on behalf of Israel?
Well, we have to be mindful of what has been said. Like right in the beginning of when this war started, you had Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, saying that there was a fear of a potential strike on Israel, and so we went in and intervened as a pre-strike option. This is what he said, as well as other members of the administration. And then they switched it up to other types of issues of we don't want them to have a nuclear bomb, we want regime change. The Americans have never gotten a clear answer on this, and the House does not want to call anybody from the Congress doesn't want to call anybody from the Trump's administration for hearings because they don't want to show disunity in the front of Iran. Lastly, we have to be mindful of the fact that Netanyahu said he's been waiting 40 years to get an American president on his side who will be willing to do this. Trump didn't even do it in Trump 1.0, and now here we are in Trump 2.0. So I think it's pretty clear in my mind.
Well, the administration has faced criticism by Democrats and some military experts of not having a plan going in. Your response?
Oh, the fact of the matter is that everything Trump does, he doesn't have a plan for. He just acts on how he feels on a particular day. There are stories out that the briefings that he gets are basically him being given an iPad like a child in a restaurant where he can watch stuff blow up every single day. And so he thought that the regime was going to collapse, even though his military leaders, his generals, and other advisors were telling him that one of the first things that was going to happen was that the Strait of Hormuz was going to be closed. But he didn't believe it. The arrogance of Trump and Hegseth is just appalling, and Americans are suffering for it.
More troops are being sent to the region. The president has not ruled out boots on the ground. Is that the worst case scenario, is to send troops into Iran? Iran has said in the past that they're prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Iran is not Venezuela. He thinks everything's going to go easy. Isn't it amazing how they want to change the name from the Department of Defense to Department of War, call their soldiers war fighters, but don't want to say this is a war, this is an excursion? Sending troops in, whether they're seizing Karg Island, whether they are going on the ground in terms of the mainland, it will be a disaster. We have already lost 13 troops. Thousands of civilians have been killed across the region as well. More to come. And many people have been displaced as well. So troops on the ground would be an enormous disaster for an administration this would be, Mark, this would be hard for an administration that was competent. But for an administration that doesn't know what it's doing, I pray and fear for our soldiers.
What's a realistic finish line? What is the best case scenario for the U.S.?
The best case scenario right now is the bombing has to stop. Iran is not going to do anything as long as these bombings continue. And we have seen Trump talk about, well, I think I'm going to slow down the bombing for now. And then every time he said that at least twice already. And then the next day, Israel comes with more bomb strikes, which keeps the United States drawn in. And so there needs to be more diplomacy between the United States and Israel to get the bombing to stop. And then some possible conversations can come from there. But until Trump stops giving all of these mixed messages, but the main message that is not mixed is the dropping of these bombs, we're not going to be able to proceed positively.
The president is warning Iran to come to the table to negotiate a ceasefire. Are you optimistic that that can happen?
I'm not optimistic in the moment because Iran, they are politically savvy. They are seeing what's happening with Trump in the United States. This is the least popular war that has ever been started by the United States as it relates to since the age of polling. It's the least popular war. Usually when we go into war in the United States, it starts off with a high bar because the president at the time gets Americans behind it, and then it loses popularity over time. There was net disapproval from the beginning, and the Iranians realized that they can draw this out. As long as our gas prices start to rise, we're going to see the cost of our medicine rise, our food rise. They can ride it out longer than Americans can. At least that's what they believe.
Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.